Hi, everybody. A very good evening. And firstly, a big thank you to all of you all to have taken the time to join this particular webinar. I just hope that in these tough times of pandemic, all of you all are doing well, your families are doing well. And I think that's the most important thing. And amidst this entire thing, I'm so glad that all of you all have taken time to be a part of this session. So thank you so much for that. Ideally, like you all know what the session is all about. The idea or the focus area is to help you all understand various career options in finance and specifically helping you all understand how we think financial planning or wealth management as a career tops the chart and why you all should give it a serious thought if at all of you all are from the field of finance. Now, I would like to believe that the way we've tried reaching out to colleges, most of my dear participants here today are going to be students. And I'm going to keep my thought process aligned to what the student community would want to understand and know in terms of building a career across finance. The way we will pen this session is very simple. I am going to talk for another, let's say, half an hour to 45 minutes maximum, right? So I have some 6-7 slides that I really want to present to you all. So majorly this will be roughly 30 to 45 minutes. And then we will open the floor if at all there are questions that you would want me to take up on anything that I've discussed, or probably questions that you have that I have not been able to discuss, I'll be extremely happy to take those questions up. So a very quick summary, 30 to 45 minutes is what I'm going to time my presentation, helping you all understand why and what about careers in finance. And then please feel free to leave by your questions on whatever I've discussed or anything else that you have in mind, and I'll be extremely glad to take that up. In the meanwhile, while I'm talking, if at all any of y'all have any requirement to do with questions that I'm going to talk on, please feel free to use the chat box and talk to me. And I will take those questions up either immediately or probably once my presentation is done. So please do not hold on to your questions till the end of the presentation. I'll be extremely happy if you all have questions while I'm talking. Use the chat box, talk to me, and I will take all of those questions up for you, right? On that note, please allow me to start. Guys, before I start, a very quick background about what does my organization do, and a quick brief about what do I do, so that you all have some understanding of why am I talking about the subject that I'm going to talk about, and do I even relate or understand the topic that I'm going to talk about. So very quickly, our parent company is called Sykes and Race Equity. We are a stockbroking house like you would have heard and known of other stockbroking houses like Motilal Oswal, Angel Broking, Sharekhan, Edelweiss, IIFL. So we do exactly the same thing. We are main brokers. So that's the main part of our business. Along with broking, we offer multiple other services that all the other brokers offer. So we are ourselves into financial planning. We are into mutual funds. We are into PMS. We are into loans, right? And we are into education, right? So these are all the verticals that we as a business offer, right? We've been in this business for the last 30 years. Of course, I am not the one who started the business, but ideally what I handle in this particular business entity that we run is I take care of the education division and I take care of the financial planning division. So I bring with me close to 12 to 13 years of work experience in the field of financial services, right? Where prior to being a part of this particular organization that I'm representing to you all right now, I was executive director with a non-banking finance company, which is listed on the Bombay Stock Exchange. So I bring good 12, 13 years of work experience and exposure in the financial services space. And specifically over the last 11 years, I have been deeply rooted in financial planning and wealth management as a business. And we also do a lot of training people in the financial planning and the wealth management space. And with that, I believe, and I hope that a lot of you all will have slightly more confidence with respect to my background in the same field, so that you'll understand that I'll be able to guide you in the right direction because I bring 13 years of work experience in the same field. On that note, let me move on to the subject, because I believe that you all probably will have some decent understanding about my background and my organization's background. And that probably has set the course correct for me to talk to you all about what I'm here to talk to you all on this particular topic. I think most of y'all here, and I believe that the chat function is on and a lot of y'all can talk to me, right? And specifically students that I really want to talk to here. A lot of y'all probably for some reason, I don't know what is that runs in your mind, whether or not do you think that you should do some certifications along with your graduation or after your graduation. But there is this extremely important data point that I really want to share with y'all, so that y'all understand why doing plain graduation that y'all are currently doing may not solve your purpose. What do I mean, right? So let me try and highlight some very interesting data points for y'all. And I think this is the most important data point in my entire presentation, for which I really want y'all to take this seriously, because this is what is going to decide whether or not you are moving in the right direction in terms of your career. In Bombay University, there are 700 plus colleges. Yes, to a lot of you all, this will come across as a big surprise, but there are actually 700 plus colleges in the Mumbai University jurisdiction. There are close to 2 lakh plus students graduating out of Mumbai University in the field of commerce every year. Now imagine and ask yourself that if you are amongst the 2 lakh students graduating out of commerce each year, do you really think it is going to be as simple as walking into a firm with your resume, asking for a job and for you to get that job? I'm sure you have your answer that the competition today is really high. If somebody tells you that there are 2 lakh students, right, graduating in the same field that you are graduating, and with the kind of job opportunities available in the market, you know, it is not going to be as simple as you think. Just out of graduation, you will be able to land up a job. I also feel a lot of people here feel that, you know, doing a post-graduation program, you know, a lot of us will be able to end up getting a job. A very important or a relevant data point on post-graduation also. There are 84 business schools in Bombay, right? What you call as MBA. There are 47,000 postgraduates graduating out of Mumbai University each year. So while you graduate or postgraduate, you are literally looking at 2.5 lakh students, 2 lakh graduating out of graduation and close to 50,000 graduating out of post-graduation. You're looking at 250,000 or 250,000 people that are there in the market with you looking out for a job. I don't see a reason why most of y'all here listening to me today would not understand why just doing a plain graduation from any Bombay University college is not going to make you land up your dream job, right? But more than this statistic, I think the biggest mistake that the student community actually makes is ends up taking a program that she does not understand about, ends up taking a program that she has absolutely no idea about of what kind of job will she be expected to do. Today, while I talk to so many of you as students, I know for a fact that most of you all end up taking a certification program just on the basis of either your parents want you to do that, either your brothers or sisters have done a certification program like that in the past, or probably your friends want to do a particular certification program, and because you don't know which program you should do, you just end up piling across with your friend and end up doing that certification program. What I really want to change in this particular half an hour talk that I'm going to do with you all is help you all understand the entire industry, help you all understand what kind of jobs are available in the industry. What will you be expected to do if you land up with a particular job in a particular industry, so that you know that if I end up taking a job in that particular industry for this particular job role, what will be expected out of me? And if I want to end up getting that particular job, what is the certification program do I really need to do? You know, this is what I intend to cover in the next half an hour. I don't just want to talk about one particular certification program, because that, in my opinion, does not solve any purpose for all of y'all. I really want y'all to understand, which you've not understood so far, as to why would you want to take a particular certification program. What does the industry look like? What kind of a job will you get? What is your salary? What is your growth pattern if you end up taking that particular job role? I think that is what, in my opinion, will help you really make a decision whether you want to opt for a job role or you don't want to opt for that job role. And if you want to opt for a particular job role, what is the process? What certification program will help you reach that particular job role? And that is what my focus area for this particular session is completely going to be. So let me talk a little about that. If all of you all are finance graduates or working in the field of finance or studying in the field of finance, who are going to be your recruiters? Of course, at the last, I'm going to talk about entrepreneur opportunities, right? But let me currently look at solving the major problem where people are looking out for jobs. So who are your major recruiters? Your major recruiters are typically banks, stockbroking firms, credit rating agencies, right? KPOs, NBFCs, mutual funds, insurance companies, and tax and audit firms. Now, I believe most of you all know what these industries are, but very quickly, while I talk about bank, I'm talking about, let's say, HDFC, I'm talking about stockbroking firm, let's say I'm talking about my own company or Motilal Oswal, let's say credit rating agencies, you would have heard names like S&P, CRISIL, right? ICRA, these are all the names that you would have typically heard of. KPOs, you would have heard of names like Deutsche, Credit Suisse. NBFCs, you would have heard of Bajaj Finance, Muthoot Finance. Mutual funds, again, there are multiple mutual funds, but you would have heard of ICICI Mutual Fund, HDFC Mutual Fund, SBI Mutual Fund. Insurance, you would have heard of LIC. Tax and audit firms, you would have heard of KPMG, Deloitte, right? So while you are graduating in the field of commerce, ideally, you are today or tomorrow going to be absorbed in either of these sectors by either of these companies that I spoke to you of. That's the basic premise that you have to understand, that if you're going to graduate out of commerce, which industry, banks, NBFCs, KPOs, credit rating agencies, which are these industries which are going to hire you, right? Who are the players or who are the companies in that industry? And also at the same time, what are the kind of job roles that they offer? So now that you broadly understand which are the companies that are going to hire you, let me give you a dope around the job roles that they offer. Now, I'm not sure if people have spoken to you about this or your college talks to you about this, but in my opinion, this is extremely important for all of you all to understand that what are the kind of job roles that these companies offer me, right? And the interesting aspect of what you have to understand is exactly this. Because if you don't understand what are the kind of job roles that you're going to end up receiving when any of these guys hire you, you are definitely going to be unhappy tomorrow, is because you might not like the job, right? So let me give you a little understanding about what kind of job roles each of these companies offer. And then I'm going to help you understand that if you want to get into either of these job roles, what kind of certifications will help you get that job role, right? So let's say first I talk about stockbroking firms. Very simple. Stockbroking firms would have the first kind of job role that they offer is something called as dealer or relationship manager, right? Some companies may offer it separately, but typically they go hand in hand. Dealers and relationship managers are the same. What is the job role? The job role is very simple, right? Let's say a Motilal Oswal would have a lot of clients who would want to buy and sell shares, right? So they need to reach out to somebody, right, whom they can call up and say, buy 1,000 Reliance shares for me, or sell those 1,000 Reliance shares that I bought from you, right? Those are the guys who are called the dealers or the relationship managers, whose typical job role is to get somebody to sign up for a broking account at Motilal Oswal, and then service the client with respect to any buying and selling that the client would actually want to do, right? So this is the job role you get when you end up becoming a dealer or a relationship manager with a stockbroking firm. Who's a risk management guy? Risk management guy is a very simple profile which helps you understand or which works for the stockbroker in a way that the risk of the stockbroker should come down. Now, what do I mean? I'm not sure if how many of y'all have heard of something called as futures and options in the stockbroking business, right? But futures and options in the stockbroking business is a leveraged business. What I mean by that is, if you have 100 rupees, they allow you to trade for 500 rupees. Now imagine if you have only 100 rupees and you trade for 500 rupees, there can be huge losses that can come your way, which you don't have monies to pay for, right? So the risk management guy's job is to make sure that they keep an eye on what is happening, right? And at one point in time, right, manage the risk in a way that at no point in time, Motilal Oswal will face a risk that you've made a loss for, let's say, 120 rupees, but you don't have 120 rupees to pay, right? So the risk management guy's job is to make sure that they will only allow you to trade, and they continue to monitor that as much as you have the amount of money to lose. As soon as they feel that you don't have enough money and you've taken more positions, they will manage this. They will make sure that your positions come down, your trades come down, so that Motilal Oswal does not face the risk. That is what risk management guys do in very simple language. Analysts are the guys who typically work with the broking firm, who would come out with buy and sell recommendations. So let's say if I'm an analyst with Motilal Oswal, I will do research and come out with calls saying, I think Reliance is a good buy right now, go ahead and buy Reliance. Or I might come out with calls where I would say, Tata Steel is not a good bet at this point in time, please sell Tata Steel stocks if you have. So broadly at your level, at the student level, probably these are the 3-4 profiles that really immediately relate to each of y'all. If you have the right certification in place, either of y'all can get either of these roles at the stockbroking firm. While I talk about banks, right, relationship management or wealth management is the same kind of role that I spoke to you of, right, at the stockbroking firm. What do relationship managers or wealth managers do? In both of these cases, relationship managers or wealth managers are the guys who would, for their clients, try and help them with investment opportunities. So either they will buy and sell stock for the clients, either they will try and help them buy insurance, life or general insurance, or they will be somebody who would try and help the client buy and sell mutual funds, right? Or all the other kind of investment products available in the market. These are the guys, these 4, I hope you all can see while I move my cursor. These 4 are the job titles where what you are expected to do is that the firm already has a set of clientele, right? Either you have to help them buy and sell either of these products that I spoke to you of, where it can be direct equity, where it can be insurance, where it can be mutual funds, where it can be bonds, where it can be currencies, where it can be real estate, right? What you do is help your clients buy and sell all of these products in all of these 4 roles that I spoke to you of. What is corporate banking? Corporate banking is simple. Corporate banking is when you go to the bank to apply for a loan, right? That's called retail banking. Corporate banking is a job profile in which you are expected to get corporates to apply for a loan. So your job is to go to a Tata Steel, go to a Reliance, go to a Infosys, check if they have a loan requirement, get that application to the bank so that the bank can get ICICI, the bank can get Reliance Industries or Infosys business, because Reliance, Infosys or Tata Steel kind of companies will then take loan from your bank. So your job as a corporate banker is to convince large corporates to take loans from your bank. What is credit analyst? Simple. As a corporate banker, you got Tata Steel to come to your bank to apply for a loan. But who decides at the bank whether they want to give loan to Tata Steel or not? It is the credit analyst. So the credit analyst is the one who will decide whether I want to give loan to Tata Steel or I want to reject that loan. Treasury and risk management are slightly superior roles, where what you do is manage risk. Like you are managing risk here, over here also you manage risk. What kind of risk? Risk is very simple. How does the bank work? right? Bank has received 100 rupees from the market. Bank has to give that 100 rupees out as loan, right? Now you just want to make sure at all point in time that the amount of money that you've received versus the amount of money that you give out as loan, there is no disparity that your bank will be at risk. So like you are managing risk at the stock broking firm's level, you will manage risk at the bank's level. This is what is the job role if you end up getting that kind of a job role at a bank or an NBFC. Mutual funds and insurance offer the same kind of job roles. What are that? What are they? Now look, the relationship manager bit here is again in mutual funds and insurance exactly same like you have in the stock broking firm. So now dealer, relationship manager, wealth manager, and relationship manager here, right? They are all the same work, which means that if you can do the right kind of certification to become a relationship manager, you can have a stock broking firm hire you, you can have a bank hire you, you can have a mutual fund hire you, and you can have an insurance company hire you, right? Now, what is marketing team? Marketing team is, I'm sure lately you would have heard a lot of these ads called mutual funds sahi hai, right? How are you hearing those mutual fund sahi hai ads? You hear them on radio, you hear them on TV, you hear them on or see them on hoardings on the roads. It is a marketing team's job to go out and sell the insurance or the mutual fund product or spread awareness so that somebody ends up buying the mutual fund or insurance. Product development are people in the insurance or the mutual fund space who would help the insurance or the mutual fund company to come up with newer products, right? So there are multiple products. Now, let's say in LIC, you would see there is something called as Jeevan Anand, Jeevan Saral. There are so many different kind of products. There is a product development team who helps you make that product. And lastly, the fund management team. This is the most superior role where these are the guys who actually invest the money that you or your investor has invested in the mutual fund or insurance. So while you sell a mutual fund or an insurance to somebody, and that money is received by the insurance or the mutual fund company, in the mutual fund company or in the insurance company, there is this guy called the fund manager who will receive this money, and then these are the guys who will buy the stocks. They are the one who will decide whether I want to buy Reliance, Tata Steel, or Infosys, and why, right? So that is what are the job roles in the mutual fund and the insurance space. Credit space or KPOs, these jobs are more data driven jobs. So let me give you an example, right? What is a data driven job? Let's say you have a mutual fund, right, sitting in the US, who's buying and selling every day. Now you want somebody to manage the accounts of buying and selling every day. So in India, you have Credit Suisse or Deutsche Bank who would do the accounting work for a mutual fund who's sitting in the US, right? So those are the kind of job opportunities which are available right now in the credit or the KPO space, right? Consultants, I think this is popularly known. A lot of you all know what they do. So they will either, so if you get jobs with KPMGs or Deloitte's, like, they will get you to either do audit or do taxation or do consulting kind of roles. Now, what I've helped you understand so far is that if these are the guys that are going to hire you, what are the job roles that they hire you for, and what do each of these job roles do? Now, of course, there are some job roles that somebody would want to do. There are some job roles that somebody would not want to do. Before even we move there, or what is good, what is bad, what kind of job can you get by doing what kind of certification, what I want you to really understand is that if you want to end up getting any of these jobs, understand this always. There are 250,000 students every year wanting to apply for any of these jobs, right? So if the competition is, yes, I can talk about KPOs. So look, actually what happens is, while you talk about the credit rating agencies and the KPOs, they end up doing the same kind of job. So like I said, let's say there is a stockbroking firm in the US. The stockbroking firm in the US typically is on behalf of the client, buying and selling stocks every day. Now they want somebody to manage the accounts. So what they will do is they will hire people here in India who are managing accounts for the stockbroking firm for which the clients are buying and selling in the US, right? Let's say there is a mutual fund in the US who's buying and selling every day, but every day there is something called as NAV, which has to be issued by the mutual fund every day, right? So they will have a team here in India who will do the NAV calculation and give that NAV calculation every day. You might have KPOs doing operational work, right? That let's say when an application came in, processing that application, when a cell application came in, processing that cell application. So this is more of a back office kind of a job that KPOs are typically doing, right? I hope that answers your question, right? Now coming back to what we were discussing, if these are the job roles that the companies offer you, if these are the job roles that the companies typically offer you, Nikita, I'll come to treasury in a bit. Just give me a moment, right? I'll answer that question for you. So let's say, for example, if there are these job roles that the companies are offering you, and if there are 2.5 lakh students applying for these job roles every year, imagine if everybody is a commerce student, then there is going to be a tough competition who gets what jobs, right? But what if you have one certification over your graduation, your probability of applying for these jobs becomes superior, right? So now there are two things that I'm going to help you understand. What are those certifications available in the market for which you can study so that your opportunity for applying for these jobs becomes superior? One, right? What are the opportunities, and which certification will help you get what kind of a job role here? Now, let's try and solve this puzzle so that you understand, if these are the job roles, what will I have to do to get any of these job roles, right? So what are the popularly known certification programs that all of y'all are aware of? And I'm sure most of y'all will relate to most of these certifications that you see here. So a lot of y'all know CA, a lot of y'all probably know ACCA. If y'all don't, a very quick, so like you have CA in India, you have something called as CPA in the US, okay? Everywhere else except India and US, everywhere else, the CA is ACCA. So you go to Singapore, you go to Australia, you go to New Zealand, you go to Bahrain, you go to any country in the Middle East, their CA or the signing authority is ACCA, right? So there are a lot of people who can't do CA or opt for CA, they opt for ACCA. Similarly, the Indian certification for the company secretary is CS. Somebody who wants to do cost accounting is ICMAI, right? Somebody who wants to do management accounting is CMA. So in CMA, you have Indian CMA and you have the US CMA. We'll talk about both. MBA, popularly known, I'm sure most of y'all, 100 of y'all logged into this session, 90 of y'all would want to do an MBA. I'm going to share with you my perspective of what and why about MBAs, right? Then you have the CFP certification, which I'm going to talk to you all about. And then you have something called as CFA. Now, I believe most of y'all here on the call, probably out of these 8 certifications that I've listed in front of you, definitely would have heard of 6 or 7 certifications for sure. It is possible that a couple of y'all might not have heard for 1 or 2 certifications, but I'm going to give y'all a dope about everything. So what I'm now going to try and intend to do is that if these are the job roles available in the market, and you know that you will have to do a certification program to apply for one of those job roles, right? And if these are the certifications available, how do you decide that which is the certification that you really want to do, right? Now, like I said, what I currently see is most of y'all end up deciding a certification program either basis what your mom and dad tells you, or probably what your brother or sister have done in the past, or probably some of your friends are opting for a certification, and in herd mentality, all of y'all end up opting for the same certification, right? And that is what I want to solve for you to understand of how can you decide which amongst these 8 certifications that I have, how do I decide that which is that certification that I want to do? I have a simple formula, in my opinion, of how can you decide that which is the right certification for all of y'all. Now, because I know that all of y'all cannot have one certification that you should look forward for, and hence I'm going to give you a simple formula of how do you decide which is that certification that makes sense to you. And for me, the right certification for you is a combination of your interest area, is a combination of your reality, and it's a combination of what are the job opportunities available in the market. Now, what do I mean? Sorry. What do I mean? When I say interest area, I'm sure all of you all relate to me, right? You should do something that interests you, right? How do you decide what interests you? I'll come to that. But in my opinion, what do you do? The first data point that you look at before deciding what program do you really want to do is your interest area, right? I don't want you to end up doing a certification program which you absolutely have no understanding about. And then after you get a job role, you understand that this is something that I never wanted to do. I'll give you my own example. I am a graduate in BSc Mathematics, but currently what I do is finance, right? I'm not sure if you've seen such examples, but there are n number of such examples in the market like me who would have done BSc or who would have done engineering and then end up doing finance, because it takes time for you to understand what your interest area is over a period of time. But in my opinion, the most important data point that you really look at before deciding which certification program is your own interest area. The second is more important, your own reality. Now, what do I mean when I say your own reality? I might have out of 100 of y'all, I might have 90 of y'all here on the call who would want to do an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad, right? But do you really have it in you, or is it really possible for you to end up doing an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad is a question that you ask yourself. I might have so many of y'all here on the call who would want to do a CA program. And I'm talking about CA because it's very commonly understood by a lot of y'all, right? My point that I'm trying to make is you might want to do the CA program, but ask yourself, check your own reality, whether or not does it fit your own reality? Can you do the program, right? And third, of course, is job opportunity. Now, what I'm going to do is help you solve this maze, right? I'm going to help you. If these are all the certification programs available in the market, let's try and break it down into all of these three: interest area, your reality, and job opportunity, so that you understand that which amongst So let me start with your interest area. Now, my judgment is very simple. I don't want to give you any complex methodology to figure out what your interest area is. Let's keep it extremely simple. If your interest area is accounts or taxation, you love accounts or taxation, the certification programs that you go for is simple. You go for a CA, you go for an ACCA, you go for an ACMI, or you go for a CMA US or India, right? Is as simple as that. Accounts or taxation पसंद है तो ये 4 certification program है, simple. आपको law पसंद है, if you like law, CS is your certification program to look forward for. If you like business or if you like finance, right, then the certification program that you look forward for is CFP, CFA, or an MBA, right? Now imagine a situation that you like law, right? You like law and you end up doing a certification program in taxation, right? And you end up getting a job in taxation. Believe in me, you're not going to be happy with that job role, right? Because your interest area is not that. So for me, first decide what your interest area is. Accounts and taxation, these are the certification programs. Law, this is the certification program. Business and finance, this is the certification program. Now you've decided, depending on your interest, which is the certification program I really want to look at. अगर मुझे accounting taxation करना है तो ये कर लूंगा, law करना है तो ये कर लूंगा, business या finance करना है, stock markets से related कुछ करना है, right? वगैरह वगैरह in finance. I want to do corporate finance, I want to do personal finance, I want to do research, I want to buy stocks, sell stocks, right? Then this is what you do, right? Now that you've decided your own interest area, let's go to understanding job opportunities and your reality. Now, let me go back first. Now, before I start talking about the job opportunity and reality with you, right, I want to give you all one disclaimer. As an institute, we train students on all of these programs that you see here. CFP, we do CFA, we do ACCA, we do CMA, right? We are soon starting with CPA, right? So we offer all of these certification programs. What I'm trying to share with you is something that we've observed over years of training on these certification programs that I intend to share with you all. So these are general data points. When I say general data points, what I mean is that if you do an MBA, right, if you do an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad, of course, you're going to get a 15-20 lakh package. But if you do an MBA from let's say a B or a C school, what you get is a 3 lakh rupee package. What I'm going to quote with you is an average of what you will get if you are doing an average program, right? Of course, there are going to be instances where you will get lower than that, where you will get higher than that. But what I'm talking to you of is the mean, the average, right? I have no intention to downsize any certification or make some certification look better. For me, everything is the same. What I'm trying to share with you is what we understand being in this business for so many years. First, we've understood your interest. Let's try and understand reality and job opportunities, right? So let's say if your interest was accounts and law, these were the 5 certifications meant for you, right? Now, job opportunity and your reality, you decide, right? CA, you will take 5 years to do, right? Passing percentage is 2%. I don't have to tell you, all of you all know that here, right? All of you all know what the passing percentage is. Fee is 3 lakhs. Why do I quote a fee of 3 lakh? Is because 9 out of 10 of you all here on the call will end up taking classes for doing your 1, 2, and 3 levels, right? If you add up all the 3 levels, the cost of the classes put together is roughly 3 lakhs. And let's say after spending 3 lakhs, after spending 5 years, and you are amongst the 2% that clears, right? The job opportunity for you is an average 4 to 6 lakhs. Like I said, there are people who will get less than 4 also, and there are people who would get more than 6 also. That depends on who hires you and when and how. What I'm trying to show you is the average of what is available in the industry. Now you have to ask a question to yourself. Yes, my interest area is account and taxation. Yes, right? CA is amongst the most superior programs available in the market. CA is amongst the most superior programs available in the market. But does it form a part of my reality? What do I mean when I say my reality? My reality means, can I give 5 years to this certification program? Do I think that I'm going to be amongst the top 2% who will clear this certification program? My reality means, can I spend 3 lakh rupees to do the certification program? That is what is my reality. My reality means that this may look the best certification program, but am I somebody who can spend 5 years? Am I going to be among the 2% who will clear? And can I spend 3 lakh rupees to do this certification program? That is something that you ask yourself. That is what is your reality, right? You might want to do an IIM Ahmedabad program, but your reality is something that you have to decide whether you should or should not do that program, right? Similarly, ACCA. So like I said, in India, you have a CA. In UK, in Middle East, in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, right? All of these other areas except US, you have their CA called as the ACCA program. It's a 2-year program, right? Passing is roughly 50%. Your cost is slightly higher than CA, right? And the job role is almost the same like a CA pays you. Now, what you have to ask yourself is that, look, this looks good versus a CA. This looks brilliant versus a CA. But is this your reality? If that's your reality, then ACCA is a far better opportunity for you than a CA program, right? Similarly, while you talk about CMA, right? What you have to understand is very simple. It's a 3-year program, 15% is passing, roughly 1,50,000 is what you end up paying. What you get as a job is 3 to 5 lakhs. Versus that, you have CMA US program, which is a 1-year program. 1-year program, right? 50% plus passing. Of course, you end up spending 50,000 rupees more, right? But opportunity for you to pass is significantly higher. The time devotion is significantly lower and your salary is almost the same. Now, again, ask yourself if this is your reality. And if that is your reality, you choose your reality. So you are sticking to your interest area, which is accounts or taxation, but then you are further granularly going down saying, is this my reality? Is CA my reality or ACCA my reality? Is ICAMI my reality or CMA US my reality? Right? That is what I was trying to say when I was saying, look at your reality. More important. CS, all of you all know, it's roughly a 4-year program, close to 7% passing, 1,80,000 is what you will end up spending. And that's the kind of job role or job opportunity you will end up making. Now, let's say if your interest area is finance, right? Look, simple. We have 3 certification programs that we are going to speak about. MBA. Is there an entrance? The answer is yes. There is an entrance. You will have to clear an entrance, right? When can you do it? You will have to spend 2 years after your graduation to do an MBA program. Now, why do I say passing less than 1%? I am saying passing less than 1% because I'm over here talking about those less than 1% people who qualify for the top 15, 20 B schools in India. The IIMs, the ISBs, the NMIMS, the JBIMS, the SP James types. There are only less than 1% who get there because the criteria for you to get there is 95%, 98%, 99% percentile in the entrance exam. For everybody else who does not qualify for the top 15, 20 schools, right? You will end up getting a 3 to 6 lakh job and the fees for doing an MBA is 5 to 8 lakhs. Now again, yes, MBA from an IIM Ahmedabad is a brilliant program. There is no doubt about it. Ask yourself a question on your reality. Are you going to be amongst that 1 percentile, amongst the top 1 percentile who will get through the top 20 schools in India? Then that is what you should do. But if you're not amongst that top 1 percentile, right, then what you will get doing an MBA is 3 to 6 lakh kind of a job with an investment of 5 to 8 lakh rupees. Here is where your reality comes into picture. Second option, CFA. Is there an entrance exam? No. When can you start? So you can start in your last year of graduation, and this program roughly takes 2 to 2.5 years or 3 years to complete. What percentage of students clear? Roughly 17 to 20% is the passing percent. And I'm talking about the level 1 here. I'm not talking about level 2, level 3 because that's slightly lower than this. But yeah, close to 17 to 20%. 3 lakh is the fee. Again, over here, while I say 3 lakh is the fee, what I mean is you will have to pay for tuitions and you will have to pay for your board fees, right? The kind of jobs that you will end up getting is 4 to 7 lakhs. Absolutely. So this is a very good certification program to do, but ask yourself a realistic question. Am I going to be amongst the 17, 20% students who clear? Can I afford to pay for 3 lakh rupees? If yes, this is a very good certification that you can look at. My suggestion, right? Consider looking at the certification called the CFP certification, right? Is there an entrance exam? No. This certification is roughly 6 to 8 months kind of a program. So in 6 to 8 months, after your 12th standard, if you devote 6 to 8 months, you can clear this certification. The passing percentage is as high as 70%, right? The amount of money that you spend doing this program is, sorry, not 90,000, but 1 lakh. And the kind of job roles that you will end up getting is roughly in the range of 3 to 4.5, 5 lakhs kind, right? Now look, guys, what I've tried doing is give you a ballpark understanding. If your interest area is account taxation, these are the programs. Law, these are the programs. Business and finance, these are the programs. So first, decide what your interest area is, right? Decide what your interest area is. Point number 1. Point number 2, look at your reality. Your reality is, can you spend that much time doing the program? Do you think you are going to be amongst the whatever passing percentage which is given out here? Can you afford to pay this kind of a fee? And if that suits you, whatever, then this is the kind of job you will end up getting. And that's the same case here in finance, right? Do you want to end up giving an entrance exam? Are you okay spending that kind of time? 2 years after graduation in MBA, 2 years roughly after graduation in CFA, and 6 to 8 months anytime after 12th? Are you going to be, now ask yourself a question in terms of passing, right? MBA from the top tier colleges looks brilliant, but can I be amongst the top 1%? Can I be amongst the top 15, 17% doing the CFA? Or can I be amongst the top 70% passing the certification program? Can I pay this kind of a fee? Can I pay 1 lakh? Can I pay 3 lakh? Can I pay 5 lakh? And once you've decided your reality, these are the kind of job opportunities that you probably have at your doorstep. Okay. Now I'm going to relate to questions. Now is where I relate to what kind of jobs do you get doing what kind of certification programs. Simple, right? So wherever you saw, so let's say in a broking firm, right? Now, because these are all finance related, I'm not going to talk about the other certification programs that we spoke of here. The focus will only be on finance related programs, right? So if at all you want to work with a stockbroking firm as an analyst, if you want to work with a stockbroking firm with an analyst, you either need a CFA or you need MBA from the top 20 B schools. You need a CFA or an MBA from the top 20 B schools. If you want to do any of these three job roles, you can be a CFP, CFA, or an MBA. All three can get you this job role. Now, please understand, does not mean that you've done a CFA, you will get an analyst job. Not necessarily. If you've done a CFA, you might still end up getting a relationship manager or a risk management kind of a job, right? Because एक कंपनी में 5 या 7 एनालिस्ट काम करते हैं, तो अगर 20 स्टॉक ब्रोकिंग कंपनीज है तो टोटल अपॉर्चुनिटी आपको 150-200 एनालिस्ट ही है. So not necessary if you do a CFA, you become an analyst. Please understand that. But yeah, theoretically, if you want to become an analyst, CFA or top tier MBA is your job role. If you want to get any of these jobs, CFP can help you get any of those jobs. Okay. Banks and NBFCs, right? Again, if you are a CFP, you can end up getting both of these jobs. If you are a CFA, you can end up getting any of these jobs. So CFA or the top 20 B schools, right? You end up getting any of these jobs, right? Mutual funds, again, in mutual funds and insurance, you can get 1, 2, and 3. Relationship manager, marketing, product development. You can get any of these 3 jobs, right? If you've done a CFP, if you want this job, you need to be compulsorily an IIT, IIM plus a CFA. Otherwise, you don't get this job. So this job is out of question for most of y'all here. So if you want to work with mutual funds or insurance companies, CFP can help you get any of these jobs. Of course, if you do a CFA, you can also get any of these jobs. For data, right? For data, again, you do any of these programs, you do MBA, CFA, CFP, you can end up getting this job, any of those data, right? And of course, if you end up doing probably a CMA, ACCA, CA kind of a program, any of these guys will hire you. So what am I trying to tell you? Very simple. If you end up doing 3 programs, CA, CMA US, ACCA, you can get a job in any of these guys, right? If you end up doing CFA or MBA from the top 20 B schools, then you get analyst, then you get treasury risk management, and you get fund management. So this is the category that you get if you do MBA from the top tier schools or a CFA, right? If you do a CFP, all of these jobs are available otherwise. All of these jobs are available otherwise. So the question that you have to ask yourself, is very simple. First, again, I repeat, what is your interest area? Accounts, taxation, to ye certifications. Law, ye. Business, finance, to ye. Right? If you want to do business and finance, you have to ask yourself very simple question. Can I be amongst the top 1% in MBA? Yes, do an MBA. Right? Am I really good to spend close to 3 years doing a CFA program roughly after my graduation? Can I be amongst the top 15, 17% to clear the CFA exam? Can I spend 3 lakh rupees? Right? Then this is a very good choice. And if you are somebody who says, I don't want to give any entrance exam, I am still an undergraduate, SIF 12 standard clear kiya hai, right? I'm not sure if I'm really amongst the top 10% to clear an MBA or a CFA exam, right? And I don't want to end up spending a lot of money. Then CFP is a brilliant program that you can look at. So what we typically, or what I typically recommend, or what I have done for myself is do the CFP program. It clears your basics really well about finance, right? Because what you learn in commerce curriculum does not teach you anything about the practical world of finance. What CFP as a certification does is gives you an opportunity after the 12th standard to spend 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, get an international certification, 70% passing, bright chances that you will get through. It is the lowest in terms of cost available in the market. We understood here. Everything is more than what you're spending. And you end up getting a decent job after doing this certification. But my suggestion to you is that after you've done this certification and you already have one certification basis which you can get a job, then look at doing a CFA so that you can enhance your profile and then you become eligible for any of these jobs available, right? What it helps you also do is, because it clears your background basics really well in finance, your probability of passing goes significantly higher in the CFA program, because now your basics are clear, which your commerce curriculum does not help you. So what I would suggest you, if your interest area is finance, do the CFP certification while you are undergraduating. You will end up spending the least amount of money. Your passing percentage is going to be extremely high versus all certifications available in the market. It only requires 6 to 10 months of your focus, right? Once you are through that, you already have an international certification that you have by your side, right? After that, start preparing yourself for CFA. Once you end up doing your CFA, right, you become eligible for any job title available. But having done the CFP also, you become eligible for 70% of the job titles available in all of these banks. So except these below job titles, right, all of these above job titles are available just doing the CFP. But my suggestion is, after you've done CFP and you can spend that little time and money more, you should end up doing the CFA program, right? What is CFP? Very quickly, before I open up for Q&A, I'm not sure if I'll be able to answer all of those questions for you all, but yeah, very quickly, what is the CFP certification program? So CFP certification program, so like in CA, you have ICAI, which is the body which issues the certification. In CFP, you have this body called Financial Planning Standards Board, FPSB US, which issues the certification. It's an international certification which is recognized across 27 countries. So you can do the certification program in India and then apply for a job. Of course, there is a process, but you can apply for a job in any of these 27 countries, which includes the UK, US, Brazil, Hong Kong, China, New Zealand, Australia, Canada. You can go to any of these countries and apply for a job after going through a process, right? It is recognized by SEBI, right? I'm not sure, but I believe that all of you are from commerce, so you know what SEBI is. SEBI is the regulator which regulates the capital markets in India. So this certification is also recognized by the Indian regulator SEBI. for something called as registered investment advisor, which I will come to in a bit. But the point that I'm trying to make is that in 6 to 8 months or 10 months, by spending ₹1,00,000, you can get an international certification program which is recognized across 27 countries and recognized by the Indian regulator. Talking to you of demand, I have this one very simple data point that I want to put across. In India, our population is 120 crore, and it's actually gone up. This data point is slightly, slightly backdated. But in India, we have 120 crore population. In a 120 crore population, India has only 2,000 CFPs. In a 120 crore population, India has 2,000 CFPs. Now, for you who would not understand whether it is a good data point or not, there are 160,000 plus CAs in India practicing. And I'm not talking about CAs who are in jobs. Now compare that data point so that you understand that CAs are 160,000 plus practicing and India has only 2,000 CFPs in the country, right? Versus that, US has a population of as small, or rather US has 1/5 India's population, but US has roughly 86,000 CFPs, right? China has roughly 23,000 CFPs. Japan has roughly 22,000 CFPs, which should ideally tell you that there is a huge demand supply gap versus how it works internationally for somebody who wants to become a financial planner / wealth manager. Who would typically hire you? Typically, I have already explained this to you, but reiterating that the corporates who typically hire CFPs in the country are banks, mutual funds, non-banking finance companies, housing finance companies, stockbroking firms, and then there are these small boutique financial planning and wealth management companies, the smaller companies. Apart from this, there is a big opportunity in the technology space that is coming up. I'm sure you all have heard names like Zerodha, you all have heard names like ET Money, you all have heard names like Grow App, you all have heard names like WazirX, who are into Bitcoins and all. This entire technology or app companies which allow you to buy and sell assets, equity, Bitcoins or whatever, those are all the kind of guys who are looking for people who have understanding about financial planning, wealth management, personal finance. But apart from this, there is a huge opportunity in entrepreneurship. Now, what do I mean when I say entrepreneurship? So I'm gonna quickly help you understand this data point, and just hear me another 5 minutes and I'll open it up if there are questions for me to take, right? So what is your job role when a bank or a mutual fund or an insurance company or a stockbroking house hires you? I have already explained that to you. So I don't want to go back to explaining to you that what will you do in an organization like a bank or a mutual fund or an insurance company or a stockbroking firm once you get hired, right? What you do is simple. You are expected to understand stock markets. You are expected to understand taxation. You are expected to understand how probably insurance works. You are expected to understand how probably various other asset classes like bonds, fixed income, and all of that work, because the client who comes to you to invest will take advice from you कि कितना पैसा कहाँ डालूं. So you have to understand कि उसका कितना पैसा कहाँ जाना चाहिए. For that, you will have to understand gold, when does it move up and down, fixed income or bonds, when does it move up and down, stocks, when does it move up and down, or probably taxation, that if I get my client to invest in a mutual fund or insurance, what is going to be the taxation, right? So you will have to understand the entire ecosystem of capital markets for you to be able to guide your client when to buy what and when to sell what. So that is what you are expected to know, and that is what people are, your recruiters are expecting you to know before they get you on board. And which is why that is exactly what the CFP certification teaches you in the course curriculum. What does it teach you? So there are 4 modules, or assume it to be 4 subjects. There are 4 subjects and you have to clear 4 exams one subject for each of these exams for you to become a CFP. Your first module is called investment planning. Investment planning module is the module in which you will be taught financial markets, financial planning. So this is the module where you will be taught macroeconomics, where you will be taught equity markets कैसे ऊपर नीचे करता है, debt market कैसे ऊपर नीचे करता है, real estate में क्या होता है, mutual funds में क्या होता है. That is what this module teaches you. Now what happens is very simple, right? You have class once over the weekend, Saturday or Sunday for 4 hours, right? So in this particular module of investment planning, you will have 8-9 classes of 3 to 4 hours each. After those classes are over, you will have to go ahead and appear for this one exam called the investment planning specialist certification. So unlike a CA where you end up taking the certification program, you will have to give multiple subjects together, right? Or in your graduation also, when you give multiple subject exams together back to back, that's not how it works here. You only study this one subject called investment planning. Then you give exam for this one subject. The exam is online. Questions are multiple choice question exams. One question, 4 answer, you pick the right answer. No negative markings. You select your own exam date depending on the window given to you, right? Once you clear this certification exam, right? Or once you clear this one subject, you receive a certification called the investment planning specialist certification. Okay. Once you clear this certification, you move to another subject called retirement planning and tax specialist. Now here is where you will be taught about everything that you need to know of how do you plan for somebody's investment who's going to retire. And you will learn everything to do with taxation around investing. तो आप स्टॉक्स में इन्वेस्ट करोगे तो टैक्सेशन कैसे होता है, बॉन्ड में इन्वेस्ट करोगे तो टैक्सेशन कैसे होता है, रियल एस्टेट में इन्वेस्टमेंट करेंगे तो टैक्सेशन कैसे होता है. सो एवरीथिंग दैट यू नीड टू नो अबाउट टैक्सेशन is what you will learn in this particular module. Works the same way. आपको 4 घंटे की ये क्लास होगी सैटरडे या संडे को. This will move across 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks, right? Then you go ahead and appear for this one particular exam. You clear this exam, you move to the next subject, right? Exams are online, multiple choice question exam, no negative markings, right? Third is where you move to risk management and estate planning. Here is where you will understand about insurance and you will understand about something called as estate planning. Estate planning kya hota hai? Basic hai. If somebody is no longer there, sorry for my language, if somebody dies, right? How will all the investments that somebody has done or the real estate that somebody has will be passed on to the nominee or the legal heir of that particular investor is what estate planning helps you understand. So it helps you understand about will, about trust and all of that, which is very important because while you are investing money for people, you also need to understand that if that somebody is not going to be there, how will this investment move to the next generation? So you understand insurance and estate planning here. Again, same. You will have some classes. You then go ahead and give this exam for this only one subject. You clear that subject, multiple choice question exam, and that is where you appear for the final module. Final module is where all the 3 modules that you've learned, investment planning, retirement and tax planning, and risk management and estate planning, all of those 3 things are put together and asked to you in a case study form here. Once you clear this exam, which means you give 4 subject exams. These are 4 different subjects. 3 subject and in the 4th subject, pehle ke 3 subject ka mixture. You give these 4 subject exams, you clear them online giving multiple choice question exams. You then complete your CFP certification, right? Cost, like I told you, is 1 lakh, but I will split that cost very quickly for all of y'all, right? Last 2 minutes. Cost is simple. Fee is 50,000 plus GST. I'm not talking about distance learning here because I believe a lot of y'all are students and you probably might not be able to study on your own. So if you want to attend classroom training, currently because of Corona, The classroom trainings are happening online, like your college learning is happening. As soon as this opens up, we have a classroom in Borivali, we have a classroom in Thane, we have a classroom in Ghatkopar, we have a classroom in town, right? So depending on wherever you stay, you can opt for which classroom do you really want to opt for, right? But currently it's happening online. What we are charging is 50,000 plus GST. That's our fee to coach you to clear the exam. And then there is a fee that you will have to pay to the body, like you pay fees to ICAI to do the CA certification. Similarly, you will have to pay a fee to the body, which is roughly $600, right? You don't pay that all together, that's paid in parts. So this 50,000 also, you don't have to pay it together, you pay it in parts. So rough cost is 1 lakh rupee that has to be paid in parts, right? Of course, somebody from our end, if you show interest, will get in touch with you and help you explain with all of these things in much granular form. But broadly, what I wanted to tell you was very quickly was this, right? If you want to end up applying for a job in the field of finance, right? Most of these job roles, and I'm saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You have 13 job roles available across 5 industries that you can apply for just by doing the CFP certification, right? You have to ask your question whether it falls in your interest area, point number 1. Point number 2 is, does this fit your reality? Ask yourself, because this is the lowest paying certification program in the market, highest passing ratio currently, and anybody who's just 12th pass can do this certification, right? And this certification be completed in as less as 6 to 10 months along with your graduation. So yes, if this falls in the circle that I explained to you of your interest area, your reality and job opportunity, I think it's a brilliant certification program for you to do to make a career in finance, right? And after that, my suggestion is you end up taking up the CFA certification because your basics are clear, right? You will be able to do a much better job in CFA because you will be able to clear the CFA program much faster. Your opportunity for clearing the CFA program will become much larger because your basics are clear. And if for some reason you don't want to do the CFA certification, CFP in itself will end up lending you a job in banks, NBFCs, mutual funds, insurance companies, and stockbroking firms. And which is why I wanted to spread awareness about this certification to all of y'all. And I'm glad that I still have close to 150 odd of y'all who sat by, heard me, and I'm glad that I could add some value to all of y'all here with respect to what I think y'all should look at before deciding which certification program do you really want to opt for or should you opt for. By then, my presentation or what I really wanted to say is over, but I'm going to quickly start taking questions if there are any, because I really want to try and add some more value if there are questions that I have not been able to answer, right? What I will do is that if there are some questions that I'm not able to pick up for some reason here, we have your email ID and phone numbers. If you all allow, I will have somebody from my team get in touch with you to solve queries that I've not been able to take on the discussion that we are currently having for whatever reason. I can have somebody from my end to call you up and take that up. But I will definitely want to take up most questions that I can. Okay, Anupama is asking, sir, would you say that CFP and CFA is better or how much better scope than MBA? Anupama, if you really ask me, my answer to your question is if you can become a part of the top 20 B schools, I mean, if you can end up taking a job, if you can end up, applying for an IIM, ISB kind of programs, right? The top 20 B schools, then I would suggest do the MBA program. But if you don't think you are amongst the top 1 percentile, right? You can't score a 98, 99 percentile in your CAT, CMAT, GMAT, whatever now they call that as, right? Then I think a CFP plus a CFA combination is far superior than doing an MBA from the 21st MBA college. Hope that answers your question. Okay, I'm getting a lot of questions. Guys, I'm confused because there are a lot of direct messages and there are a lot of messages coming. But give me some time. I'm trying to take up all of that question. Can I share my contact details with you, Nikita? Nikita, here's the contact detail of my institute. Please feel free to get in touch with us and we'll be extremely happy to take up all your questions. If you want to get in touch with me directly, Twitter is the best way. So on Twitter, you can find me at Kirtan Shah CFP. Yeah, that's my Twitter handle. If you are on Twitter, with the same handle, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram. Please feel free to get in touch with me. Okay. Raja is asking, CFP, all exams are MCQ based? Raja, yeah, all exams are MCQ based in CFP, right? Okay, Vikas, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ravi. Sir, any suggestions for good CFP classes? So Khushi, like I said, we are ourselves in CFP training. Our institute is called Financial Planning Academy. We are #1 CFP training institute in terms of student enrolling through us and student passing through us. So Khushi, if you're looking at doing CFP, I don't think that I would recommend you anybody other than Financial Planning Academy, FPA. There is another question. So do you guys provide CFA certification for inquiries? Yes, you can get in touch with us for CFA as well. It was a wonderful session. Thank you so much, Taslim. Sir, please share your contact details. Vaishnavi, my contact details are in front of the screen. I hope you are making a note of it. Is FRM a good program? So Carl, I think if you can do CFA, then I would definitely suggest you to do a CFA versus an FRM, because FRM in India is not a very established certification. Job roles and opportunities are not that great. So if you have to choose between an FRM and a CFA, I would suggest you to go for a CFA. Anupama is asking, Anupama, I have answered your question, sorry. Okay, Dhairya is asking me, do you guys offer CFA? Dhairya, I have answered that question. Harshil, thank you so much. Apurva, thank you so much. Alia, thank you so much. What if I want to be an entrepreneur? Anirudh, in my opinion, CFP certification offers you a brilliant opportunity to become an entrepreneur. And I'll tell you why. Imagine you are an entrepreneur. You got in touch with a client who's invested 1 crore rupee with you in mutual funds. Random. But because I want you to understand this, right? So let's say 1 crore rupees somebody is invested through you in a mutual fund. Do you know how you get paid? So you will get paid 80 paise, 80,000 rupees on that 1 crore of investment that you got for the client. But you know what the beauty is? If the client stays with you, you get paid 80,000 rupees every year till the client stays with you. Which means if you are able to close one client for 1 crore rupees, and it's not very difficult because I'm from the space and I'm telling you, if you can close one client for 1 crore rupees, and if that client stays with you for 10 years, every year you get paid 80,000 rupees. Now imagine if every year you can close newer and newer clients, not only that you get paid for the newer clients, but you are also getting paid for the older client that you closed 10 years back, right? Imagine any other business. In any other business, every year you will have to go hunt new clients, new contracts. This is the only business in which you get one client on board once and then you get paid for years together, which is why I don't think there is any better opportunity than using CFP as a certification to become an entrepreneur. Hope that helps you. Thank you, Sumed. Thank you, Surjit. So Nikita is asking if compare CA, ACCA, which is best and what is the scope. So Nikita, like I said, look, in my opinion, if you think you can be amongst the 1% who can clear the CA certification, can spend 5 years, right? You should opt for CA. But if you think that you don't have 5 years to spend, right? And you are not amongst the 1% of the lakhs of the students who clear, undoubtedly ACCA is a far superior program than CA in that case. Hope that answers your question, Nikita. Nirgi Doshi is asking me that CFP jobs and how can we search for CFP jobs. So Nirgi, what we do is, if you do the CFP certification through us, right, we work with 45 very large corporates, and including smaller corporates, we work with 100 recruiters in the market where we help you to get placed. So you don't have to look out for jobs on your own. We will help you do that. Prathamesh, what is the salary for CFP? I think I've already answered that question. Okay, I have so many questions. I don't know. Okay, some Shreyas is asking me, CFP good or CMA US? Again, Shreyas, ask yourself, is finance what you want to do, or accounting and taxation? If you want to do management, accounting and taxation, go for CMA. If you want to do finance, go for CFP. I hope that answers your question. Okay, what if I practice CFP? Can I continue both advisory as well as I'm a mutual fund distributor? Okay, so now that's a very interesting question. And because I have students here, can I take that offline? Because a lot of students here on the call may not understand this question. But to answer that question very, very simply, you have to choose if you want to do advisory or you want to do distribution. You have to choose. You can't do both of them together. Because you are from the industry, and I understand, hope that answers the question. Okay, my father is a mutual fund distributor. After doing CFP, can I become a relationship manager in an AMC? Abhishek, absolutely yes. Absolutely, there is no doubt about it. Okay, Raj, thank you so much. Nidhi, I think I've answered your question. Nakul, thank you so much. I have Kanta is asking, I've completed my graduation and now I'm planning to do CFP with MCOM in banking and finance. Absolutely. If you are looking at getting a job with a bank with your MCOM post-graduation, you will definitely find it lucrative if you have a CFP for a banking job. An MBA, a post-graduation will definitely enhance along with your CFP for a banking job. Definitely, Kanta. Can we do job and course at the same time? Yadneshwar, absolutely you can do a job and course at the same time, because CFP is only 4 hours at the weekend, right? Nobody's asking you to spend your entire time or the entire week studying or being a part of the course. My father, Abhishek, I think I've answered your question. Okay, there are enough and more questions hitting me. Is your Borivali branch open for us to meet you in person? Disha, unfortunately, because of COVID, we are operating out of home, but somebody from my end can definitely get in touch with you and we can do a Zoom call and we can answer all of your questions. But if you still have questions and want to meet in person, we can try and arrange a physical meet for you, Disha. I hope that answers your question, Disha. Amog, to answer your question, don't look at that certification, because that certification does not have any credibility in the market. Most welcome, Anjali. I plan to move to London next year. Does it make sense? Pritika, if I've got your name correct, it absolutely makes a lot of sense for you to do that, is because the way it works is very simple. You do the certification from here, you go to that country. In that country, you might have to give one exam again, because look, you don't know the law, don't know the taxation of that country. So you do the certification from here, go to that country, appear for that one exam in that country locally, and that local body then gives you the CFP certification there. So it definitely makes a lot of sense. But if at all accounts also interest you, then look at ACCA also. It's a very interesting certification if you want to move to London. I hope that helps. Ashwani, there are ample and more international opportunities. If you could just Google CFP in US, CFP in Canada, you will understand how and what kind of job opportunities are available in the US and in Canada for these kind of certifications, Ashwini. I hope that answers your question. Shreyas is asking, is it good to do CFP and CMA together? Why not? If you have interest in CFP as well as I mean, in finance as well as management accounting, do it together. For me, those are two different fields. But if you think you have interest in both and you can pursue both of them together, why not? Go ahead and do it. Anything that you will learn, trust me, will not go waste. Okay. Sorry, guys, I have so many questions and I might have missed a couple of your questions. Please accept my apologies for that. But somebody from my end will definitely call and get in touch with you, or you can get in touch with us if you all have questions, and we'll be extremely happy to answer those questions. I'm currently doing CFA. Is it perfect to apply for relationship manager at Motilal Oswal now? Absolutely, Chintan. Chintan, if you've cleared level 1, I'll be more than happy to recruit you myself. Okay. Madhavan, sir, after completing CFP, corporate companies are asking for 3 years of experience. So Madhavan, what happens is only if you want to start your own practice and become a financial planner, you need 3 years of work experience. If you clear the certification program and you are a graduate, companies will hire you. You don't need 3 years of work experience. You only need 3 years of work experience to start your own practice. Bhumi, I hope that answers your question as well. When will the lectures start? Amog, we are starting our lectures in the first week of June. So if you can get in touch with us, or we can get in touch with you, we can close on the formalities and we can move ahead. Sai, so Ritika, there is no specific time to do CFP. But my suggestion is, why do you want to wait to do the CFP certification program after graduation when you can do with your graduation, right? Of course, you can do with your graduation and after your graduation, both. But it's a 6-8 month program. And I'm sure you will agree that your college curriculum or learning is not so much that you can't spend 4 hours on one of the weekends to do a certification program parallel. If I were you, I would suggest you to do it with the graduation and not wait to do it after the graduation. Can you do it after the graduation? The answer is, of course, yes. You can do whenever you want. Sir, my CA class is already started, but in this session, I newly understand about CFP. Can I complete both? Of course you can, Prathamesh. Why not? So CFP has more scope than CA. Then why does CA score have more demand and popularity in spite of toughness? So Balaji, what happens is, what you really have to understand is, CA as a program is specifically meant for accounting and taxation kind of a job role. So my first suggestion to you is, don't try and mix CA with CFP plus CFA. In my opinion, they completely cater to different industries altogether, right? But as a CA, because you've learned a lot of things, including financial markets, a recruiter thinks कि इसको hire कर लेते, इसको बहुत कुछ आता है, थोड़ा, right? And CA curriculum is so exhaustive, right? Which is why you've learned a lot of things in finance. You may not be a master or something, but you are definitely somebody who understands a lot of things. And which is why recruiters feel it more comfortable. It's a more established program in India. And of course, recruiters will hire you if you are a CA, even if it's a non-accounting or a non-taxation job role, is because they think that you have knowledge about everything thoda. I hope that answers your question. Thank you so much, Rajiv. Sir, is your institute providing CFP material? Yes, Mukul, we definitely provide the material along with coaching. When are CFP exam held? Anjali, that is something that my counselor may be able to help you, but you are free to choose your exam as and when you want to appear for the exam. So you have that flexibility. Sir, I'm a student of FYBBI. Should I go for CFP or not? Kalpana, definitely, in my opinion, you should go ahead and do that. Sir, will CFP give me enough sufficient knowledge to trade markets myself? Carl, the answer is no. No certification here, even if it's a CFA certification, will give you market knowledge enough that you can start trading on your own. But what it does is builds on and gives you a good foundation that you can start. You can definitely start, and then over a period of time, while you learn, while you are in the markets, that is how you will be able to do a good job. It will definitely give you a start because you will understand everything that's happening. But I will not tell you that you can start, go ahead and start trading, right? So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Apurva is a question, sir. I'm in FI BCom. After completing my BCom, I do CFP. So Apurva, you can do it after completing your BCom also, and you can do it right now also. My suggestion is, why not do it right now? Why do you want to wait for your graduation to get over? You will end up wasting another 8-10 years, 1 year after your graduation. Whereas if you've done the certification program right now, right? I'm sure your BCom curriculum is not so difficult that it is keeping you occupied that you can't do anything else. I hope that answers your question. Along with CFP, any NCFM certification programs you suggest? Yes. Shreyas, along with CFP, you can do this certification program called Research Analyst Certification from NISM. Everything else, mota, over a period of time, the CFP certification will cover. So what I would suggest you to do is complete the CFP certification. And after that, do the Research Analyst certification from NISM. It will be a very good precursor for you to move to a CFP course. Hope that answers. Carl, most welcome. Kalpana, sir, I'm a student of FI BBI, so should I go for CFP or not? Kalpana, I think I've already answered your question. You should definitely go ahead and do the CFP certification. Definitely, I don't have any doubts about it. Anybody who's graduating right now, please don't wait for graduation to get over. Try and do your certification program with graduation, because I'm sure your graduation does not require you to spend so much of time that you can't do something else along. Okay, with that, I hope I've answered at least 50% of the questions, guys. Thank you so much. You all have been a great audience. You all have our numbers. We have your numbers and email IDs. Please allow us to get back to us, or you get back to us if you all have any questions and you think we can solve. And extremely happy to see you around if at all you all need any help. Thank you, guys. You all have been a great audience, and see you around someday on some platform, or probably me teaching you some other course. Thank you, guys.